Usually when we interact with a piece of software, there is this very comforting expectation of cause and effect.
Oh, absolutely. It's safe.
Right. Like you click a save button and a document is safely stored on your hard drive, or you type a specific phrase into a search bar and you get a list of results with that exact phrase.
Yeah, the relationship is just a straight line.
Exactly. You issue a command and the machine provides a totally predictable response.
It is entirely mechanical. I mean, the user is basically on a one-way street, just handing over instructions to a system that has been hard-coded to execute that specific order. No ambiguity at all.
But then we step into the world of artificial intelligence, specifically how you, me, and everyone else is suddenly trying to use it in our everyday professional workflows.
And that comforting straight line gets completely distorted.
It really does. We start expecting the machine to actually understand us. And, when it gives us a weird, unhelpful, or just completely fabricated answer, our instinct is to just command it harder.
Right, like yelling at it is going to fix it.
Yeah, we type in all caps. We add more exclamation points. But today, our mission for this deep dive is to completely rethink how we collaborate with artificial intelligence. We have to move past this frustrating dynamic of just barking orders at a screen.
And to do that, we're focusing on a single, just incredibly visionary source today.
It really is.
It's a white paper published in March of 2026 by Salali Banerjee. It's titled AIgogy, a white paper on the pedagogical foundations of human-AI interaction.
And we should probably note right up front that Banerjee actually trademarked the term AIgogy.
Yes, she did. She trademarked it to firmly establish it as a brand new, distinct conceptual framework for the future of work.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the core premise of this paper is, honestly, a massive wake-up call for anyone using these tools.
It really challenges the status quo.
Right now, practically everyone in the business world is obsessed with something called prompt engineering.
Oh yeah, you see the articles and courses everywhere.
Exactly. The tips, the tricks, the secret cheat codes to write the perfect set of instructions so the AI does exactly what you want. But Banerjee argues that being trapped in this era of prompt engineering is a fundamental mistake.
She calls it a technical band-aid on a much deeper problem.
Right. The future, according to this paper, isn't about giving better commands at all. It is about treating our interaction with AI as a two-way teaching relationship.
And to understand why we need an entirely new framework, we first have to examine the root cause of why our current obsession with prompt engineering falls short.
Which is what, exactly?
Well, the issue is that prompt engineering treats AI like that traditional software you mentioned at the start. It assumes the AI is a simple command and response machine.
Right, like a fancy calculator.
Exactly. But artificial intelligence is not a calculator, and it's not a search engine. It is a distinct cognitive system that processes information in a way that is fundamentally alien to how human beings think.
That's a great way to put it.
Banerjee draws a very hard line between human reasoning and machine reasoning.
Let's look at how Banerjee defines that divide, starting with us. When a human being sits down to solve a problem or write an email, we are bringing an incredible amount of invisible context to the table.
We really are. We rely on narrative thinking.
Yeah, and we draw on decades of experiential knowledge. Like if I ask a colleague to make a report sound more urgent, they know what urgent means in the context of our specific corporate culture.
They can read those implicit social cues.
Right. We do all of this automatically without even realizing it.
And that is the human cognitive system at work. It's rich, it's contextual, and experiential. But the machine cognitive system operates in a completely different universe.
A totally different universe.
Artificial intelligence relies strictly on probabilistic prediction. It functions on statistical pattern recognition. Its entire reality is defined by training data distributions and optimization algorithms.
I'm going to stop you right there, because if I am listening to this, my eyes might have just glazed over at optimization algorithms.
Fair enough.
Break that down for us. What does it actually mean that its reality is probabilistic prediction?
Okay, think of it like a giant, incredibly complex game of Plinko.
Oh, I love Plinko.
Right. When you drop a chip down a Plinko board, it bounces off pegs, and its final destination is determined entirely by physics and probability.
Okay, I'm with you.
Well, an AI model works similarly with language. It doesn't actually know facts. It doesn't have memories or experiences. When you give it a prompt, you are dropping a chip into the board.
So it's just bouncing around.
Basically, the AI is simply calculating the statistical probability of what word or concept should logically follow the previous one. And that's based entirely on the billions of text documents it ingested during its training.
Wow.
So the optimization algorithm is just the math that scores those probabilities to pick the most likely winner. It isn't reasoning through your problem at all. It is just predicting the optimal sequence of words that mathematically align with your input.
So it's like trying to have a deep philosophical conversation with a highly advanced auto-completing calculator.
That is exactly what it is.
We are coming to the table with narrative, emotion, and life experience, and the machine is just bringing pure, unfeeling statistics.
We're trying to merge human narrative with mathematical probability. And that friction is where all of our frustrations with AI originate.
But wait, let me push back on this premise for a second.
Sure.
Isn't writing a highly detailed prompt specifically designed to bridge that exact gap? Like if I sit down and write a 5-paragraph prompt, giving the AI a specific persona and detailing the background of my company.
Yeah, the classic mega prompt.
Exactly. Providing the context of the project, listing exact negative constraints of what not to do. Aren't I just giving the autocomplete calculator the context it needs to run its math correctly?
What's fascinating here is that while a detailed prompt absolutely improves the mathematical output, it does not fix the underlying psychological misunderstanding between the human and the machine. Well, think about what happens in the human brain when you feed the AI that brilliant 5-paragraph prompt. The machine spits back a highly articulate, perfectly formatted, deeply insightful response.
Right. The human brain automatically projects human reasoning onto the machine.
Exactly.
We read that brilliant response and think, wow, this thing really understood what I needed.
And that assumption of understanding is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
The AI didn't understand you. It just predicted a highly optimal sequence of words based on the constraints you provided.
But because it sounds so human, we get tricked.
We do. Because we misinterpret how that output was generated, we start to blindly trust the machine. This is exactly why incredibly smart professionals fall victim to confident errors, or what the industry calls hallucinations.
Right, the hallucinations.
The AI produces a financial summary or a legal citation that sounds perfectly coherent and authoritative, but it completely lacks any grounding in verified reality.
It just output a sequence of words that had a high statistical probability of appearing together in its training data.
Exactly. Even if those words describe a court case that never existed.
Because it is only optimizing for what sounds mathematically correct based on patterns, not what is factually true in the physical world.
And Banerjee argues that you cannot solve this psychological trap simply by writing a better prompt.
Because the prompt isn't the problem.
Right. Prompt engineering just makes the AI sound more convincing, which actually increases the likelihood of blind trust. As long as humans misunderstand the fundamental nature of the machine's cognition, the collaboration will eventually fail.
Which proves this isn't just a tech issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This proves that interacting with AI isn't a technical issue of getting your command syntax right. It is a pedagogical challenge. It is an issue of teaching, learning, and translation.
Which brings us to the core solution presented in the white paper. Because human cognition and machine cognition are so fundamentally alien to one another, the interaction cannot remain this one-way street of us barking commands at a screen.
We have to stop commanding and start teaching.
Right. And that naturally shifts us into Banerjee's big idea, which is the bidirectional nature of AIgogy.
The term itself, AIgogy, is a fusion of AI and pedagogy, which is the method and practice of teaching.
I really like that term.
It works, right? Banerjee frames human-AI collaboration not as a software operation, but as a mutual learning process. It requires movement in two distinct directions.
Let's look at direction 1, which is teaching humans. This means we, the users, must actively learn how AI generates its responses.
We have to strip away the magic.
Exactly. We have to internalize that Plinko board math we just talked about.
Banerjee is very explicit that users must develop genuine AI literacy. You need to understand how training data influences the output.
You really do.
And you need to understand the root mathematical causes of those confident hallucinations.
But if I am listening to this right now, and I am, say, a busy marketing manager who just wants ChatGPT to draft a press release for a new product, I am probably thinking, I don't have time to learn the math. I don't care how the Plinko board works. I just want my press release so I can go home. Why does that manager actually need to care about direction 1?
Because without that foundational understanding, that marketing manager is a liability to their company.
A liability? That's a strong word.
It is, but it's true. If you treat the AI like a magic vending machine, you won't know how to evaluate the press release it hands you. You might not realize that the AI used an outdated marketing framework from its 2021 training data,
Oh, right.
or that it entirely fabricated a statistic about your industry just because it sounded mathematically plausible.
So understanding the math is actually a defensive mechanism.
Exactly.
Huh.
Understanding the probabilistic nature of the machine is what gives you the defensive reflex to fact-check, edit, and safely integrate that output into your work.
Okay, so direction one is us learning how the machine thinks, air quotes around thinks, so we can protect ourselves from its flaws. But direction two is where this framework flips. And this is about teaching AI. Because AI lacks any natural context, life experience, or social norms, we have to actively teach it human thought and communication.
And the challenge is doing that with a system that doesn't actually experience the world. You cannot just tell an AI to be more empathetic.
Because it doesn't know what empathy feels like.
Empathy is a human experience. You have to introduce human elements through structured, pedagogical interaction. This means providing the AI with concrete examples of human reasoning patterns.
Iterative feedback, right?
Exactly. It requires iterative feedback, where you correct the model's output step by step. It also involves feeding the system highly curated data sets that accurately map to the specific language, intent, and culture of your workplace.
Here's where it gets really interesting. So instead of just delegating a task to an AI, like throwing a file at an intern and walking away, we are essentially raising it.
Raising it, yeah.
It feels like we are trying to teach the cultural norms and nuances of a completely foreign country to a visitor who has memorized the dictionary but has literally never actually spoken to another human being.
I think Banerjee would appreciate that analogy, provided we extend it to include the math.
Okay, how so?
Well, you have this visitor who has memorized the dictionary. But instead of learning your corporate culture through lived experience or emotional connection, they only learn by counting.
Counting.
Yeah. They count how many times you pair the word urgent with a specific tone of voice in your emails. They calculate the statistical frequency of certain formatting choices you make.
Oh, wow.
The paper argues that professionals must fundamentally shift how they view themselves in this dynamic. Stop seeing yourself as a software operator and start acting as an AI trainer.
So your daily goal is to manipulate the statistics of that visitor.
Exactly. You do that through iterative feedback and structured examples, teaching them how to converse in the specific cultural dialect of your project.
That is a massive paradigm shift. It moves the user from, I am utilizing a tool to I am engaged in a continuous bidirectional teaching relationship.
It really is a whole new mindset.
But if human AI interaction is actually a two-way classroom, someone has to be leading the lesson. Someone has to be managing this complex translation between human context and machine probability.
And Banerjee introduces a highly specific role to manage this exact friction. She calls it the AI pedagogue.
It sounds incredibly academic, the AI pedagogue.
The title sounds academic, sure, but the function is purely practical and essential for the modern enterprise. The AI pedagogue is the crucial bridge between human cognition and machine cognition.
So they're like the bilingual translator in the room.
That's exactly it. They possess a deep understanding of both sides of the equation.
So they understand how humans in their specific company interpret meaning, like the unwritten rules, the corporate strategy, the narrative reasoning behind a project.
Yes.
And they simultaneously understand the optimization algorithms and the probabilistic generation of the AI model.
And because they sit perfectly at this intersection, the AI pedagogue performs a vital dual function. First, they translate human intent to the machine.
Give us an example of that.
Well, let's say an executive team needs a comprehensive market analysis. A standard user might just prompt the AI to write a market report.
And get a generic, hallucinated mess.
Right. The AI pedagogue knows that won't work. They use structured prompting, provide curated examples of past successful reports, and iteratively guide the AI's probabilities.
So they are actively shaping the Plinko board before dropping the chip.
Precisely. They generate an output that genuinely aligns with the executive team's complex strategic needs.
And the second function of the pedagogue is translating that AI output back into responsible human understanding. So let's stick with that market analysis scenario. What does the pedagogue do when the AI hands the report back?
Well, they do not just forward the document to the boss. The pedagogue evaluates the output through the lens of machine reasoning.
Looking for those statistical quirks.
Exactly. They might look at a brilliant-sounding trend prediction in the report, recognize that the AI heavily weighted recency bias from a specific cluster of its training data, and then append a contextual warning to the human team.
So they are constantly teaching their human colleagues how to interpret the machine's outputs responsibly.
Yes, ensuring nobody blindly trusts a mathematically plausible hallucination.
Banerjee's paper outlines 4 broad applications for this framework. And when you look at them through the lens of that market analysis scenario, a clearer narrative emerges for how companies will actually survive this technological shift.
It's a roadmap, really.
It all starts with the first application, which is AI literacy.
Mm.
Before a company can do anything, the AI pedagogue has to teach the staff the basic mechanics of probabilistic prediction.
Right, getting everyone on the same page. And once you establish that baseline literacy, you can safely move to the second application, which is enterprise AI adoption.
Because now they understand what they're using.
Exactly. You can actually start integrating these models into daily operations because your staff knows they're working with an autocomplete calculator, not an oracle.
But once the AI is adopted and generating thousands of reports and emails, human nature just sort of takes over. People get lazy,
They absolutely do.
which forces the need for the third application, responsible AI use. The pedagogue has to implement protocols to actively reduce the staff's over-reliance on automated responses.
Forcing human review to catch those confident errors.
Right, and which culminates in the fourth and final application, human AI workflow design.
The holy grail.
Yeah. The ultimate goal isn't just to use AI to do old tasks faster. It is to design entirely new daily processes that seamlessly weave together human narrative reasoning with machine statistical intelligence.
With safeguards built into every single step.
But let me challenge the practical reality of this for a moment. Hearing all of this, it sounds like an incredible amount of work.
It is a lot of work.
Does every single professional, from an entry-level copywriter to a senior logistics manager, need to become a certified, deep-in-the-weeds pedagogue just to do their job? Or is this going to be a specialized new job title? Are we going to see LinkedIn profiles for the director of AI pedagogy?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Banerjee's conclusion on the future of work is very clear. Will large organizations hire specialized directors of AI pedagogy to oversee entire departments?
Probably.
Yeah, almost certainly. But the underlying inescapable message of the paper is that technical advances alone will not save us. We can build faster, more powerful statistical models with larger training data sets.
But it won't be enough.
No, because without the human element actively translating and guiding them, they will fail to integrate effectively into our workflows. Human understanding and pedagogical adaptation will become mandatory survival skills for everyone navigating the professional environment.
So it is not a niche skill you can just outsource to the IT department anymore.
Not at all. Whether you are a marketing executive, a financial analyst, or a healthcare administrator, if you are integrating AI into your daily tasks, you have to adopt this pedagogical mindset.
You have to accept the two-way street.
Exactly. You must accept that you are entering a bi-directional learning relationship. You have to evaluate the outputs critically, understanding the statistical limits of the machine.
While simultaneously doing the hard work of guiding the machine to reflect your human intent.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? It means a total identity shift for you listening to this deep dive right now. Whether you are using AI to catch up on a dense body of research or trying to automate a tedious, repetitive workflow in your office, you have to let go of the comforting illusion of cause and effect.
You really do.
You are not just an operator typing commands into a search bar. You are no longer just tweaking prompts hoping for a magic answer. You are an active translator between two entirely different cognitive worlds.
You're bridging the gap. You are bringing the narrative, the context, and the meaning, and you are taking on the responsibility of shaping the mathematical probabilities of the machine to reflect that reality.
And this raises an important question, one that builds directly on the reality of this bidirectional framework, and it's something I think everyone needs to deeply consider.
What's that?
If our AI systems are constantly learning how to approximate human reasoning through our iterative feedback, our structured examples, and the specific curated data sets we feed them, well, what happens over time is these models start to reflect the unique and perhaps deeply flawed or biased corporate cultures of the pedagogues training them.
Oh, wow.
Right. In this bidirectional classroom where humans and machines are locked in a constant state of adapting to one another, who is ultimately shaping who's thinking the most? That is a brilliant and honestly slightly unsettling thought to leave on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Salali Banerjee's AIgogy framework. We hope it completely changes how you view that blinking cursor on your screen. Stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, the next time you sit down to interact with an artificial intelligence, you aren't just turning a steering wheel or typing on a calculator, you are stepping into a classroom. See you next time.